Awesome.
All right. Well, we're pleased to have Kristopher Babros from the Peoria Civilian Police Academy, who's going to join us, tell us about this opportunity and the service for Kristopher.
Thank you, Larry. Thank you guys for having me. Give you a little background on me. I have been in law enforcement for about 13 years, going on 14 here in a couple months. Throughout my time in law enforcement, I started in Colorado, born and raised Colorado Springs. So Colorado Springs, Colorado, started my career there, worked for the El Paso County Sheriff's Office, worked in detentions there. From detentions, I went on patrol. And then from patrol, I kind of rose up the ranks and became a detective, worked the SWAT team, and made a mistake, but it's not a mistake. I'm here. The wife and I and kids ended up coming on a vacation here, stayed at the JW Marriott. My wife said, we need to move to Arizona. It's so beautiful here. So I was like, oh, you know what? We actually should. So my patrol commander in Colorado Springs ended up retiring there and came out here and got a position with the state. I kind of nudged him and said, hey, you gonna have any openings? And absolutely, he said, yes, I would love to have you come out. So that's how I ended up coming out to Arizona. I worked for the state for a little bit, worked on a federal task force with the Arizona Department of Economic Security and the Security Administration, where I was in an undercover capacity, investigating people who were misusing their Social Security disability funds. So they would say they were disabled and they weren't. And it was my job to prove that they weren't disabled. So if they were telling Social Security Administration that they had a bad back or that they couldn't get out of bed, I would be able to follow them on the golf course. Pretty cool job, right? You know, and I would sit back there with my video camera and watch him take a full swing, 300-yard drive. And next thing you know, he wasn't getting his Social Security disability benefits anymore because he's not disabled. So I did that for a while, and then I've always wanted to come to Peoria. I live in Peoria. I actually live right across the street, hop, skip, and a jump. I live on the east side, I guess, of 127th and Nadine. I have two children. My children go to Vistanti Elementary. I have a kindergartner and a fourth grader, and my wife is in real estate. So I always wanted to work for Peoria PD, so here I am. Started in Peoria PD 2019. Worked on the road for a little bit. After working on the road for a little bit, I became a detective and worked on our domestic violence unit, working strangulation cases, you know, the bad of the bad domestic violence cases. I've always had a place in my heart for victims who are victims of domestic violence incidents. So after I did my short stint in domestic violence, I got notified of an opening in our public and information office. And with that, it's basically the PIO, the face of Peoria. My supervisor, who can't be here today, his name is Brandon Shepard. I don't know if you guys have seen him or heard of him. You've probably seen him on TV, but him and I basically represent Peoria PD on social media, with the news. We kind of put everything out to the community. So I don't know if you have social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Nextdoor. If you're on any of those platforms, anything that the PD puts out, it's coming from us. If there's an incident that takes place in the city, we just had the Circle K homicide that took place a couple months ago. I responded to the scene. Brandon and I kind of worked hand in hand and kind of made everything work. We've caught one, we're still waiting on the other. So we put everything out social media, as far as missing persons to community events. And the reason I'm here today is to talk about our Citizens Academy. We do 2 Citizens Academy a year. We typically do one in the springtime and we do one in the fall time. What is the point of a Citizens Academy? The point of a Citizens Academy is for us to engage with our community and to kind of show our community what we do as a PD inside and out. Has anybody ever attended a Citizens Academy, not here, but elsewhere? You have?
I attended here.
Oh, you attended here. When did you attend?
2 years ago.
2 years ago. Was that with Brandon?
Yeah.
And Lori and Jen?
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so we have one attendee, sir.
Billings, Montana.
Billings, Montana. How was your experience with that?
It was good.
It was good?
We were trained, went out in pairs.
Okay. And how long was the process? How long was the whole academy?
To get trained.
Yeah.
It was, we went out several weeks with the person that was already there.
Okay. And is that more of a volunteer thing, or is that more of a, like an academy type thing?
a volunteer thing.
Okay, volunteer thing. So I'm gonna come back to you. What was your experience? What'd you think of the program?
Oh, it's great. I actually, was a volunteer with Pleasanton, California Police Department.
Awesome.
And I went through their, Citizens Academy. You had to go through it before you become a volunteer.
Excellent.
So I went through their program. I was 12-year volunteer. Moved here, and then I went through your guys' program. It was great.
Awesome.
Really enjoyed it.
Awesome. What I'm gonna do before I talk about our program, I'm gonna play a video for you guys. And after I play the video, we'll kind of talk about everything that you could encounter if you attend our Citizens Academy. I'll just let you know that we take anywhere from 25 to 30 people, and it's first come, first serve. So if you're not on social media or you don't follow us, you might want to, just because that's where we're gonna push everything out first. We're gonna say, hey, alert, we're gonna open up Citizens Academy registration on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Nextdoor. And it's basically first come, first serve. The first 25 to 30 people who put in, we'll do a quick background check on you. Make sure you don't have any felonies, you don't have any gun convictions, anything to that nature. And then we'll put you in the class and go from there. Here's a little video that I got.
It opening up. Went to sleep.
Sorry, technical difficulties. It's on up here. Went up the screen when the projector went off, turned off.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So.
I don't think so. Here it goes. Oh, there we go. All right, perfect. So you just needed Larry's help.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sometimes you just gotta unplug it.
All right.
It's coming back.
Should I shut that curtain over there?
Yeah, why don't you guys
Yeah,
grab
I'll go
that?
shut that.
Okay, I think that'll
All
work.
right, here we go.
Peoria Police Department Citizens Academy provides an opportunity for the general public to decide everyday responsibilities are fine, management and one.
See the volume.
The technical course allows citizens to observe and learn how police officers define public affairs. Process comprehensive and there's any knowledge correct. Whether you want to take law enforcement as a career, want to learn more about your local police department, or just want to experience a life, your police department city and distribute.
All right, so watching that, let's just pick out one of the classes, what a class could be. Anybody tell me what, after watching that video, what would one of the classes be?
What was the breathalyzer stuff?
Sure, so traffic. So let me just kind of explain. This is a 10-week program. We're gonna look to maybe condense it a little bit, but it's a 10-week program. We offer it Wednesdays and we offer it maybe looking at switching it to Thursdays. It would be a 6 to 9 would be the commitment from you, being the citizens who attend. So you would be there from 6 to 9. What we would do is we would have a schedule of events for the entire evening, and we would break you up depending on the night. Sometimes we break you up into 3 classes, sometimes we break you up into 2 classes, and then sometimes we might not break you up and you just have 3 different groups that rotate through. He brings up a good point, the breathalyzer. So every week we're going to have a different schedule of events. One week could be traffic. With traffic is going to be a whole night entailing itself. And the breathalyzer will be one aspect of it. As you saw, some of the people driving putting the goggles on, so you can simulate what it's like to drive with a blood alcohol content of 0.08, 0.15, 0.20, and they put you in these cars and they put cones out to see if you can maneuver around them. And I mean, essentially, each cone is going to be a citizen, like if you're driving in a car and you hit somebody. So it's good stuff to kind of go through and to kind of see what you would drive like at that level, because I'm hoping nobody drives drunk anyways. So traffic week, you have the carts with the goggles, you have the PBT, and then you also have, I don't know if you saw, but the radar. So we have a radar and we have a LiDAR. Radar is going to be basically vehicle coming at me. I point the radar and it's going to say, oh, boom. You know, it's what our motor officers, a lot of them use. Oh, yep, going 55 and a 45. LiDAR is the same thing, but it's more of a laser that is pointed directly at the front bumper of the vehicle, coming straight at them, giving them a more, giving them the same speed of radar, but it shoots further away. So that would be traffic week. That would be 1 week out of the 10 weeks. Another week that we have is kind of like an introduction. I probably should have started with this, but command staff will come. You'll meet all of the commanders. You'll meet all of the chiefs, the deputy chiefs, and then they kind of do a little brief introduction. They kind of say, thank you guys very much for coming here. Thank you for giving us your next 10 weeks. And then we get the whole program started. You're going to meet every single unit that we have at our PD. From victim assistance unit will come and talk to you. We have a misdemeanor repeat offender program, which people who commit a whole bunch of misdemeanors, we try to get them help to try to better their lives so they're not in our community breaking all these rules and repeat offending. So we try to get them the proper resources that they need. We have detectives that are assigned to that unit that help get these people along, and you know, whether they get them a job or whether they get them resources, maybe they're homeless, things along those lines. That would kind of be what week 1 would look like. Week 2 would be our crisis negotiation team. So we have a C&T team. Our C&T team typically goes out on barricades with SWAT. And what they do is they bring all of their equipment in the room. You know, they have a phone set up here, and it would be a phone that you would typically throw into like a barricaded situation. You would throw the phone into the house through the window. That way you can talk to the guy inside the house. You have a trained professional talking to the guy who's a crisis negotiator, saying, hey, you know, we're not making any promises to him or anything. We just want this situation to resolve peacefully. We want everybody to be safe, and we want that individual to come out of the house. You would go through some scenarios with that. You'd be able to use some of our equipment. SWAT is a whole nother week. The whole week with SWAT entails, we would show you what a charge looks like. We actually put up a door with drywall. We have our SWAT members they end up putting a charge on the door where they're either going to blow some of the door off, or they're putting it so they can get eyes into the house. This is all right in front of you guys. So you would be wearing safety goggles. They'd have you back at a distance. You'd kind of see the whole charge taped up on the drywall. They would blast it off, and then they walk you through the whole process. Part of SWAT week as well is they give you the ram, and they have you ram through a door. When you ram through a door, they're going to have an entry team behind you. So the SWAT guys will go over everything with you guys. As how they set up on the door. They're going to have people lined up directly behind them with rifles, which you saw. You guys are going to get to shoot them. They're simunition rounds, but still, I mean, what a great experience to be able to go through that, and they could run you through several different scenarios. So the person ramps through the door, the next two people with rifles go in and they address the threat. There could be a shoot or there could be a no shoot scenario. You're not going to shoot somebody if they don't have a weapon in their hand, but then you're going to shoot somebody if they do have a weapon in their hand. So they'll kind of walk you through that whole process. Then they also have the Bearcat, and they also have our TST, which is our technical services team, available as well. Robots, drones that we have flying, and then the Bearcat, like I said, which rams the front door. It's when the whole SWAT team kind of gets to the SWAT call in. They all ride in the back and then they unload out of it and prepare for entry. I will say that our drones are up and coming. We are in the process of trying to make it easier and safer for our officers on a SWAT call, where we will actually fly a drone up near a house because it's not putting anybody in danger. It's more of using the equipment that we have available. Another week after SWAT week would be Detectives Week. So you're going to have sex crimes detectives come and talk. They're going to come and talk about different type of applications that are out there for children, for yourself. I mean, we're talking human trafficking, we're talking prostitution, we're talking everything that they've engaged in conversations with seniors, juniors, kids, juveniles, you name it. They're putting all this stuff out there. So it's a good resource for everybody to have. We have our financial crimes unit come and talk, and that's a big unit for not the elderly, but that's a big unit for older people to come and get their advice, because you guys are getting phone calls all the time from scams, from romance scams, from not paying your taxes. Some people don't know any different and they're gonna just give them their bank card right over the phone, or they're gonna pay this bill, and next thing you know, they're being blackmailed and extorted by having to pay all these funds. So it's a great class. Financial crimes does one, domestic violence does one as well. They talk about case studies, they talk about trends that they've seen, they talk about cases that they have witnessed and encountered, along with financial crimes. At the end of our Citizens Academy, you're going to have our major crimes unit, where they will actually, and we're trying to revamp it, where it's probably gonna be a little different than when you went through, but Brandon and I have talked about, we want to kind of up the game a little bit, kind of do like a mock crime scene, where the detectives would actually walk you through about what they're looking at. Previously, they've talked about like blood splatter, where if there's blood splatter on the wall, there's a tail on the blood splatter, where detectives would be able to tell which direction the blood was flung on the wall, shoe prints on the ground, you name it. It's a very informative class. We have Detective Chris Bowie, who has taught it for several years. He has over 25 years plus of law enforcement experience. Other interactive days. So that just covers just probably 3, maybe 4 of the classes. We have a Milo training scenario where we'll put you through and we give you an airsoft Glock. And it's you and a partner, and you guys are running through scenarios. You guys are running through a shoot, don't shoot scenario. You guys are running on business alarms to traffic stops. We kind of throw several different scenarios at you to see how you go. And you're actually shooting the screen, so it'll actually show you where your shots are when you're running through these scenarios. As far as the scenario portion of it, we do that a couple times. We do it once in the beginning, and then we do it once in the end. The once in the end is just to kind of build that skill of shooting. We have you guys actually shoot with the gun club here. We have you guys actually shoot. There's an actual live range day where it's a dedicated Saturday where we'll break it up into 2 groups. We'll do typically like an 8 to noon group, and then we'll do a 1 to 4 group where you guys are down on our range with a certified range instructor. It's a 1-to-1 ratio, and they're running you through drills on our range. Any questions so far? No, not a single question. There's got to be one.
Range day, your own gun, or do you supply them?
Range day. So our own gun, we'll supply everything. We supply eyes and ear protection. We supply everything. We supply the range masters, all the paper targets, and it's going to take place down at our South Station. forgot to mention this, but we do have 2 stations here in Peoria. With the Citizens Academy, I'd say probably two of our classes, maybe 3 would be up here at the North Station. The others are gonna be down at the South Station. Our South Station is 8351 West Cinnabar. For those of you that don't know, it's probably the 101 in Peoria, just a little bit southeast of there. But yes, great question. Any other questions?
Not related to this,
Sure.
but they're gonna be voting on the budget thing. In your time on the police department, how many times have you folks needed a helicopter?
It's a great question.
It has nothing to do with this, but we
Okay.
get a lot of people are concerned that they want to spend $4.5 million for a helicopter. How often do you need it?
Sure, I'll circle back and answer on that question.
Okay.
I'll finish this and then come back on the helicopter question. As any other questions pertaining to Citizens Academy so far?
Is there an expectation when you finish that you have some role or volunteering?
Sure, so, no expectation, like all we want is our community to know what we're doing in the PD. We want to build that relationship with our community. There's no expectation. You guys are given an opportunity to join the Peoria Police Alumni Association. And what that is that helps run the Citizens Academy in the future. We have a couple of them who volunteer their time and they show up a couple nights during the Citizens Academy and assist and move groups from one room to the other, help with bathroom breaks. They just basically a volunteer, they kind of help out. If you don't want to just stop there and you want to continue on, we do have a volunteer program as well at the PD. I'm the volunteer coordinator along with my boss, Brandon Sheffer. If you are interested in volunteering, you can go on our website, peoriaaz.gov, and under community relations, there's a volunteer application there that you would send directly to me. My email address is on there, so if you have questions about that or have any questions about this program, please reach out.
What all, in a volunteer organization, what all are the different avenues that you can
Sure.
go down?
So volunteers, we have several different opportunities for you. You can volunteer in our records department. If you don't want to be out on the road, you'd rather be in a controlled environment and help with reports or records, you can do that. If you want to volunteer in our property and evidence, we have volunteers in our property and evidence who help our property techs and our property manager kind of go through evidence and individualize it and, scan barcode labels and stuff. We have patrol volunteers. The patrol volunteers are out on the road. Okay, you're out on the road, you have a little different training. You are shuttling cars back and forth from being worked on, getting oil changes from our south station all the way up here to our north station. There's mail that needs to be run from our north station to our south station. There's vacation watches that take place. So when people leave town, they can submit a form to have a vacation watch on their house where a volunteer will drive by and, hopefully, fingers crossed, they don't see any damage to the front door, broken windows or anything, but a patrol volunteer basically helps assist patrol functions. They're not going to put their life in jeopardy, but if they come across an accident, they would call it out on the radio and then they would wait for a patrol officer to come there and they kind of assist them, whether with traffic control, traffic direction, you're kind of assisting a patrol officer. So we have patrol, we have communications as well. We have community relations. If you're an energetic person, like to talk to people, you can come work with me in my unit. We are at several events on the weekends, car clubs, school events, races, you name it, we're at all of them. So we're representing our department. We would love to have you come out and help us as well. As far as volunteers, that's kind of a good list where you can volunteer your time. And I'm sure there's several others as well. I know Neighborhood Services has some as well, where you would get out in the neighborhoods, go to meetings, and that kind of falls under our unit as well.
Neighborhood watch kind of like.
Yeah, we've kind of gone away from the neighborhood watch thing, but more of like being more involved within communities and stuff, community meetings, stuff like that. Any other questions pertaining to volunteer?
You were talking at the beginning about be aware on social media. Hey, that's how we'll find out.
Yes.
Is it also on PeoriaAZ.gov.
Yes, so it will be, and I will, it's like I said, we do it twice a year. We're probably gonna shoot it out probably somewhere in August would be my guess.
Yeah.
Because we're gonna start probably September, October, November. We don't want to get too close to the holidays. We know people are gonna be traveling for the holidays. We are noticing that we're gonna do it over Thanksgiving, but we're not gonna do it that week. We'll probably give everybody the week off, because when we just recently did it, we did it over spring break and gave our citizens the week off, because we understand people are traveling, we understand people are going on vacation. So we will work with you as long as you guys work with us. It'll be perfect.
Start watching around August.
Yes, start watching around August. I'll go out to my car and grab some business cards for you guys too. If you guys are interested, I'll get some business cards and leave them for you. That way you can call me and I can either start keeping a tally and let you know if we're gonna post it or when we're gonna post it. I can also get with Larry and keep him posted. That way, you know, it's about first come, first served, about 25 to 30 people is what we're looking at. And we would love to have you guys. So to talk more about the Citizens Academy, you'll go through the whole 10-week program, and then at the end, the Peoria Citizens Alumni Association will talk to you. They'll try to get you to come on board to help them out, to volunteer. And we serve a full course dinner where at the end it's a graduation. So the chiefs are there, command staff is there. We present you with a certificate. We give you a little goodie bag, and you can bring a +1 to that. And then we kind of just send you on your way. You'll notice day 1 of Citizens Academy to day 10. Do you remember what they did on day 1?
No, I don't. It was with COVID, so I was in that split class. You know, so
Okay, okay. So day 1, we try to ask people, hey, why are you taking the Citizens Academy? Why are you here? And then we circle back and we look at day 10 and we say, hey, did you get out of it what you wanted to? Because believe it or not, we have people who take it who don't like the police. They can't trust us. We ask them at the end, hey, now can you trust us? And their vision has totally changed. And they are totally, they are in love with us. They love what we do. That's what our whole goal is for this program, is to get everybody's trust, build those relationships with the public, and to make it where everybody is happy. Right? Yes, sir.
You don't carry weapons, do you?
What's that?
Volunteers don't carry weapons.
Volunteers do not carry weapons. So volunteers, that's a great question. So what differentiates a volunteer than a patrol officer? So currently right now, our volunteers slap placards on their cars and it says police volunteer on it. My boss and I have talked like how is somebody gonna know that that individual is a volunteer? They don't look anything like us. They're dressed in all gray, where our patrol officers out on the road are dressed in all blue. They do not wear vests. They are equipped with the radio. They're equipped with I think maybe a less lethal weapon, but that's pretty much it. I mean, you have no firearm on, but that's why we're not sending them to in progress calls. That's why we're not sending them to those types of calls, because they don't have that training. We're just using them and having their assistance with shuttling cars, doing vacation watches. If they see something on a vacation watch, they see a broken window or they see a garage door that's busted, they're notified to radio our communications, and then they'll send officers out right away to help them. Then we kind of have them back out.
I've seen some jurisdictions where they train volunteers and give them the authority to write parking tickets for like handicap violators.
Great question. We're kind of in the works right now with that, because legally, are they allowed to? I don't know. It's a fine line, you know, if people are parking illegally and our volunteers can go out and write them a ticket, can they? Yes. Should they? We're still looking into that. So, and I recently just took this program over probably 2-3 months ago. There's a lot of things that I want to change as far as the vehicle thing. I think when they're out patrolling, I think they should not be in a marked police vehicle. I think it should have some other type of decals or something else on it that specifies volunteer on it. That way, somebody's not going to come running up to them saying, hey, this just happened to me, I need your help. Well, that volunteer is probably just going to immediately call the radio and ask for a patrol unit. I just think they need to be better marked, would be my guess on that. Does that answer your question? Okay. Larry?
Is there anything that's, well, what's the most difficult thing to train people? Or they don't understand?
For this academy or? So we do, you know, speaking here at the gun club, we have a lot of people who have never shot before. And I'm sure you guys have encountered that as well. A lot of people who have never shot. I'd say that's probably the most difficult. We take firearm safety extremely important. And I know Vic and Pink have been here to talk to you guys. They're retired Phoenix. Now they're our range masters and they help in our firearms portion at the PD. They do a class alone just on firearm safety. And when that leads into the open range day, I feel like that's where people learn a lot. Is people have never fired a gun. People don't know the grip. They don't know how to hold on to the gun. So I think it just actually builds their confidence after they take the class, because now they can shoot a gun. Now they know that it's not gonna, you know, it's gonna hurt somebody, but they don't know. They're more worried about the recourse on the weapon, and they're more worried about all of that when they have nothing to worry about.
I found it interesting, range day, looking back and they have their gunsmith back there.
Yep.
You can see him doing, you know, maintaining the guns.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, so for that range day, I mean, they're gonna take the whole gun apart, they'll clean it. He got to see some of that. Sometimes it happens. It just depends on your group. It depends if your group asks a lot of questions. It depends if there's free time. They'll take the whole gun apart. You'll be able to see our armory. I mean, they're very,
yeah,
they're good guys.
Yeah.
Good guys for sure.
Very thorough. Too.
Very thorough. Yes.
You gotta be checked twice before you.
Yes.
Access to range.
Yep. And speaking of being checked, so you saw there's other scenarios that happened in our range. And we throw scenarios at you where you might have to use a weapon, you might have to use a taser. Who knows? You don't know what you're going into. So we kind of prepare you that way, where we'll have people come out from behind a blanket, they might come out from a tarp, and you don't know what you're going to encounter. So you have to make that split-second decision. My gosh, what's going on here? What do I see? Is it a cell phone in his hand? Is it a knife in his hand? He's coming towards me. So you have to think fast, make that decision. You have to make that conscious decision. Am I going to fire? You have to figure out what the totality of the circumstances are and go from there. Any other questions? So everything is going to be posted on our website. Everything will be posted on social media. I would look for it to come out probably August. What I will do is see if I can get with Larry to get a sheet of paper so I can collect everybody's email address in here. And that way I can shoot it out to you guys when it goes official. That way, if you don't have our social media, you'd be able to attend by signing up.
Or you could just send it to me. I'll send it out to everyone.
Okay, perfect. Yes, sir.
Two questions.
Yes.
First, can you tell us what incident happened that led to us having armed guards for 2 weeks to protect us from our senior citizens' neighbors?
Sure. So that incident was brought to my attention. I think it just started this past weekend, correct? Like recently?
The two weeks is
recently.
over now.
Okay, so I know that there were some kids that were maybe vandalizing and throwing some pool equipment in the pool. I don't know if it's pertaining to that.
No.
It is not.
Apparently they had one guard here at the club and another armed guard over at the HOA office. So it sounds like there were threats, some type of threat.
Okay, yeah, I don't have that information at this
It was
time.
a threat of violence. I asked the security guy.
Okay,
He said some person who lives here threatened one of the workers in the Kiva Club and was asked to put his house up for sale.
okay, okay, well, there you go.
Which
Number two, is there anything that we as citizens can do to help the police enforce the no U-turn signs that were posted about a month ago?
At the
Up
Circle
at
K, El Mirage.
Mirage and the Stansfield Boulevard. I mean, routinely, you can see 4 vehicles in a row just ignoring those signs. I beat the horn at one of those guys and got the 1-finger salute. But if they can post a squad car in that gas station for like half an hour, I'm sure they'd issue 20 tickets.
Yes, our traffic unit is aware of that. I don't know. It depends on vacations, it depends on calls for service as far as our traffic unit getting up here. I know that it is on their radar, and I know that that sign is new, so what I'm thinking is people are coming out of the Safeway. They live in Coldwater Ranch, so they're coming out of Safeway, making that U-turn and then going to their house, is what I'm thinking. What they should do is make that left turn, go make the U-turn right before the fire station, and then go that way.
What do you think people misunderstand most about the police or the patrolling?
You know, like we're good people. We are family oriented. That's one thing that I love about Peoria is just how close we are. We all work well together. Our ultimate goal at the end of the day, night, morning is to go home safe and go home to our family. And I'd say that's one of our big priorities. I'd say our community, we have the support of our community. We work well with our community. If we see something or you guys see something, more than likely, we're going to act on it pretty quickly. And I feel as though we have a great relationship, and hopefully that guides you in that direction.
And what are some of the new types of policing or skills that you need nowadays?
As far as
being able to do your job in light of the different kinds of crime and individuals and technology out there.
Sure. So new skills. So there, I wouldn't say it's a new skill, but how to talk to people. I mean, this is day one, like how to have a conversation with somebody. If you can't have a conversation with somebody and you're in training right now to be a police officer, we're going to send you and your training unit down to a Circle K or a QT and just spark conversation with people. If you can't have a conversation with somebody, you probably shouldn't be in this job, because I talk to people every single day. And when I was on the road, I would go and have conversations with people, because if you don't, that doesn't look good. That looks like you're either hiding something, or you can't have a conversation, or you're not a sociable person, right? More along the lines of skills, I'd say this day and age, we are gearing more towards being more proactive. Okay, we're going out and doing more. We're not waiting for the call to come to respond to calls. We're going out, we're doing more, we're being more proactive throughout the community as far as traffic control. I'll make sure that our traffic unit comes up more for you, okay, and monitors that light. And we also have an officer that's assigned up here. And I think with the budget, we're gonna have another officer assigned up here. So hopefully that'll kind of help things along the way. It's, you know, with this day and age, it's tough to narrow it down to a couple different things, but I'd say along those lines, somewhere around there.
Okay.
You want to go through 3 ticket books a shift? I can tell you how.
How's that?
Just give people tickets for driving in the left lane. They're not passing anybody and they're not turning left. And all they're doing is creating a traffic jam.
Just causing traffic in the left lane. I will tell you that at Peoria PD, we don't have a quota. We don't have to meet a certain criteria. We don't have to give a certain number of tickets a day. It's the officer's discretion. So
Is that a law?
It is. In every one of the 50 states, the motor vehicle code is the left lane is for passing or turning left. If you're not passing somebody, I have a solution to the problem, because a lot of police officers don't want to write tickets because they go to court and the guy goes in front of the judge. Well, I'm going to turn left. Yeah, 10 miles down the road. So I was trying to get the legislature to change it, saying if an officer followed them for at least 1 mile and they're not passing anybody or turning left, that is in and of itself a definite violation. But they won't do it.
So as we are a gun club, can
Sure.
you talk about the kind of firearms that you have available? Do you get to choose what you carry? They assign certain things. Can you carry your own in addition to that?
Sure.
What kind of training do you have for firearms, and what types do you have?
yeah, so firearms. I'll talk about the training first. So we train quarterly. So we train every quarter. We have to do a yearly qualification where the yearly qualification typically starts at the 25-yard line and works the way in all the way to the 3. So I think we start at the 25. We have to fire 8 shots center mass in like a certain time frame. I think it's like 10 seconds, 12 seconds. and they all have to be in a silhouette. You can find this target course, it's on AZ Post, so it's all under the semi revolver post qualification course. So we do 25, then we go to the 15, then from the 15, we go to the 7, then from 7, we go to the 3. At the 3, we have to do one-hand shooting, so we'll shoot with our right hand, 2 to the body, 1 to the head. We shoot with our left hand, 2 to the body, 1 to the head, and then we shoot with double hand together, 2 to the body, 1 to the head. So that just kind of trains us. Let's say we're on a call for service and our right hand, if I'm right-handed, my right hand gets shot. It just teaches us to shoot with our left hand. We're only doing it from the 3-yard line, but still, typically most of our gunfights are in this range. I mean, we're not gonna, gunfight could happen further back, but typically it's super close. Proximity. Yeah, so that's really something cool. I don't know if they did it in Colorado. I don't remember them doing it in Colorado, but when they did it here, they did it for the qualification. I mean, it actually makes you think, because now you have to pull the trigger with your left hand. You have the grip has to be strong, and I mean, it's a different game. All of our weapons, we primarily shoot Glocks. I would say most of our SWAT guys, they shoot. I don't know the name of it, but they have a different type of weapon that they shoot. You can only carry the department issued weapons on you. So if you're on SWAT, I forget I'm drawing a blank right now as far as their handguns, but I think some of them have SIGs, and then some of them have Tauruses. But our Glocks are department issued. Typically, we have Glock 21, Glock 17s for detectives, smaller. We are 9s, so we're majority going all 9s. A lot of our department is going the red dot system. Anybody in here ever shot with the red dot? No, it is game changer. So no more looking at the front sight. You're actually looking at a red dot, and you're shooting with both of your eyes open. So that is one thing that we are seeing all of our shooters' scores increase, all of our qualifications. I mean, just the numbers are just shooting out of the roof, because you're actually more threat based and you're keeping both of your eyes open, looking at the red dot, and it's game changer. So that's a route that law enforcement is going. They are actually starting to teach that in the academy right now, where when I went through the academy, it was just, the post and regular sights. So rifles, we do carry rifles. A lot of our officers carry long guns. You have to go through a qualification. You have to go through a 40-hour rifle course. In order to carry it, you have to qualify on it, and then you have to stay up for quarterly qualifications and quarterly training on it. We do have shotguns as well. 870s. So we have officers who would rather not have a rifle. They would rather have a shotgun. So they're trained in shotgun. And then we have stun bag shotguns. That answer the
That's great. Thank you.
weapon questions. Any questions on weapons?
What's
Most common violation you see in civilians?
So Arizona, I mean, coming from Colorado and then to Arizona, everybody here has a gun, okay? And everybody here can have a gun. I'd say the most the highest violation that we see is prohibited possessor. So if we talk to somebody and end up finding out that they've committed a felony previously, I mean, that's an arrestable offense. That's a felony. They're going to jail. The weapon is going to be ours. We'll take it for evidence. And I'd say that's probably our highest one. But typically, I would say if you guys are ever carrying your weapon, you get pulled over or you're notified by police, let them know you have a gun on you. That way they're not caught off guard. That way they're not surprised. It's best to just tell them right up front. If it's in a glove box, if it's in your center console, make sure you tell them. We understand, we go up to a vehicle knowing that everybody is either going to be armed or everybody's going to have a weapon, or we're going up to a vehicle thinking it's, we don't know who's in there. So we've never made that contact yet. So we're thinking it's going to be the worst case scenario. So if you can put us a little more at ease and say, hey, just to let you know, I have a gun, I'm carrying it, it's on my right side, left side, it's in my center console. This is how that officer should handle it. He's going to say, okay, during this contact, can you just step out of the vehicle for me? Or during this contact, put your hands on the steering wheel, or during this contact, just don't reach for the weapon while I'm in contact with you. There's a couple different ways, we get asked, guys with motorcycles. A lot of them are carrying weapons. I'll have them step off the motorcycle. I'll immediately have a backup unit come. And when I have a backup unit come, we'll take the weapon off of the guy with the motorcycle just to put us a little more at ease. When the stop is done, then we'll give the guy back his weapon and go from there.
Tasers, pepper spray.
Tasers, pepper spray. So we are just getting ready to roll out this fall to the X7. It's the newest and greatest taser. I don't know anything about it. I haven't been through the training yet, but we're getting ready to issue all of our officers with the X7s. Right now, I think we have the X27s. So I think we're upgrading with taser and Hexon. Pepper spray, officers can carry pepper spray. Typically, so I carry both on my belt. Some officers will carry just one. Per policy, you only need to have one, but I like to have both because you never know. Sometimes the taser might malfunction and doesn't work. So then always revert to and go to the pepper spray.
Or on a windy day, the pepper spray.
Yeah, exactly. On a windy day, you know, and if your partner's down here interviewing somebody, you pepper spray somebody, now he's not gonna be too happy. So.
Do you ever find any type of violations in how they transport weaponry as a citizen? If I've gone to the range, obviously you don't want it under the seat.
Sure.
But,
Yeah, no, I would just say as long as you're up front, you keep it secured. I would say put it in a gun box, put it in a lock box. You might say, hey, man, I'm gonna stop by Starbucks, get a cup of coffee before I go to the range. Believe it or not, people break into cars during the day and at night. So just common sense, if you are going to the range and you have your weapon in a gun box, don't leave it in plain view in the back seat. And you go in and get your venti coffee, come out and your window shattered and your gun's gone.
In Michigan, before I got my CPO, we had to transport our bullets in the locked glove box and have the gun in a secure case in the trunk.
I think California is that way as well.
Yeah, it's not that way here though.
No.
So the gun can be loaded, but in a range bag?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
One little tip that I've gone by. No gun related bumper stickers or tags or stickers or anything on the vehicle, because that immediately tells somebody, oh, this guy's a gun owner. He's probably got weapons in the vehicle. Let's go break in and.
Sure. I mean, yes, that you bring up a good point. I will tell you that we have people, and I wouldn't say in here because you guys have a guard shack up front, but I mean, they can hop a fence, they can go through the golf course, they can come, they can get here. So if you have a vehicle parked in your driveway, make sure it's locked. If you have bumper stickers or you have anything that says, you know, National Rifle Association or I support this or I support that, just it's making yourself that much more of a target. And then they're gonna circle back around and be like, oh, well, his truck was unlocked the other day, let's try it again. And then boom, there's a revolver in the center console.
Best bumper sticker I ever saw was on the back of a pickup truck. And on the bumper, it said, honk again, I'm reloading.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
You get trained on these new tire catchers where it shoots out
Yeah,
from the
so
patrol?
Peoria PD, we don't, the grapplers.
Yeah.
Yeah, so DPS uses grapplers. What it is if they are in contact with a pursuit vehicle or a vehicle that's fleeing from them, it's a thing that connects to the front of their Tahoe or Explorer, and it will actually like extend where it'll go to either, they have to get close enough to the back left tire or the back right tire. And it's a net that catches the tire and then it kind of releases and then it stops the vehicle. It doesn't make it roll or anything, but it just stops it.
Yeah.
We don't have those yet. I know that maybe our K9 units and maybe our SWAT guys are looking to go to something like that, but it's just another tool for the toolbox. We would have to get trained on it. It would be a good tool to have. I can say that since I've been in this position for the PIO, I can't even think of on 5 fingers how many pursuits we've had.
Yeah.
So it would DPS, yeah, they probably need it because they're on the highway.
Sure.
People are traveling at higher rates of speed. We haven't had that need yet.
Kind of related to that question is how well do you work with the other communities around here? You know, because the towns and such are really weird shape and,
Yes.
you know, if they had to call DPS, would
Sure.
they be willing to come in and support you guys?
Yeah, so we have a great relationship with all of the PDs that surround us. On the south side, we work closely with Glendale. If you can picture Northern and the 101, we work well with the Casino PD because we actually border Tohono O'odham PD is the Casino PD right there at Desert Diamond. So several of our shoplifters from Northern 91st and Northern will cross over and go into the casino. We'll build those relationships and get surveillance video or have them help us out. Glendale, we have a great relationship with. Up here, we have Phoenix, we have DPS, Maricopa County Sheriff's Office, they help us out at the lake. So a lot of people don't know this, but anything that happens in the water is Maricopa County. Anything that happens around the lake is us. We go all the way past the lake, all the way to, we go north of Lake Pleasant. So our jurisdiction goes all the way up there. Yavapai County, yep, Yavapai County. So I haven't seen it yet, but I know a couple of our officers that have booked people into Yavapai County, because if it happens in Yavapai County, we have to book them into that jail rather than take them to Maricopa County Jail. So,
We get back to the helicopter question.
sure. So the helicopter question, what was your question again on it?
Okay, so how many times, say in the last several years, has Peoria needed helicopters to respond?
Sure. So I've been on several calls where we have had helicopters respond. The helicopters have responded for vehicle burglary suspects who middle of the night, we can't see. We basically set up a perimeter and then we would wait for Maricopa County Sheriff's Office to bring their chopper in, or Phoenix PD or DPS. When they would come in, they would illuminate the whole area, the field. They would look in backyards. They have a FLIR system, which is a heat radiating system, which would be able to tell us, hey, somebody's in this backyard. It's amazing what it sees from aerial view rather than being down street view. I think it would be a valuable tool. As far as how many times, I will say that I don't have the approximate number of how many times we've needed or called for a helicopter, but I will say anytime that suspects are running, there's a foot pursuit, we can't find them. We are always calling for a chopper, and we're calling for a chopper just based on, it's always good to have something in the sky. It reverts me back to when I was talking about our drones earlier. If a chopper is unavailable, we're throwing up a drone, and we're throwing up a drone because a drone can see the exact same thing. It's there, and it gives us an overview of what's happening.
I know Maricopa Sheriffs, they have 2 helicopters. Phoenix has 6. So it sounds like if you needed help, there's somebody available to
Yeah,
respond.
and I'd say the helicopter question, sometimes we call and they're unavailable. So whether they're down, wind, weather, yeah. Hopefully I answered that.
Yeah, just, you know, 4.5 million, 3.5 million for the helicopter and $1 million a year for maintenance, and
Sure.
so it's just kind of like, are we gonna really use it that much, or is this, you know, we get 2 calls a year and we're spending $1 million?
It's a business case there. Sure, yeah.
If they had the helicopter, would other jurisdictions have access to it?
Yes, so if they had the helicopter, West Valley agencies have talked, Goodyear, Buckeye, Avondale, Peoria, El Mirage. I know that they would all, I don't know financially if they split that cost. I don't know how all that looks, but I know that, I mean, just because Peoria has a helicopter doesn't mean it's just gonna be Peoria. It's like we would help out other surrounding.
I'm sure there'd be some compensation.
Yes, yeah.
How does police get access to Trilogy either during the day or in the evening?
Sure, so police get access to Trilogy. You guys have,
Opticom.
what's that?
Opticom.
Opticom. Tell me about it.
They have these strobe lights on the vehicles, and there's a sensor at the gate. And if it's a certain frequency of the strobe lights, it activates the gate opens up.
So
Fire department, same thing.
Yeah, fire department does, we do not.
Oh.
So PD does not have that. PD has, we have a Knox box key, where every gate has a Knox box key, which is a fire department entrance. We go there, we put the key in, either it's a code activated or it's a key, and we open it, go in.
So one key covers all gates.
One
It's
key is
universal.
the universal Knox box key. And if there's no key, we have a gate code sheets that our communications will provide us with what the gate code is.
Gotcha.
Yeah, for example, like the north gate back here, there's no keypad,
Okay,
so,
there, if you look, there's gonna be it's typically like a brown pole.
okay.
And there's a little key thing that opens up, and there's where we would get out of our vehicle, turn the key, and we would actually, if an emergency did happen, we would leave the gates open. So the first responding officer is gonna turn it and leave the gates open. That way, everybody else that's coming in is the gate, they're not gonna have to get out to the key. Yeah, they're gonna keep it open, and oftentimes we get called from your security to come and shut them because we'll rush here, we leave them open, we leave, and then the gates are still.
Is there a reason why you folks haven't gone to Opticom? It's so much faster. I mean, I've used it,
I know our fire has done it. It's a great question. I don't know.
because as you're pulling up, you hit the button, stroke.
Yeah.
The gate opens up immediately.
Well, let's thank Kristopher for a nice. And as I said, if you want to send me any information, I'll send it out to the entire
Yeah.
group.
Yep.
And this has been great. We really very much appreciate it.
Thank you guys very
And
much.
if you need anything from us, we'll be.
Awesome.
Thanks again.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you very
Thanks for
much.
coming, everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
I really enjoy this academy, and if I can, I'd suggest it for everyone.
It's great. It is, just me being here talking about it doesn't do it justice. It is a well-oiled program. I mean, the classes, the instructors, it really does. It's not just me and Brandon, my boss, coming and talking every single week. It's new set of instructors that come every single week. Some are good, some are not good. But you just kind of bear with it and go with it and soak up all the information that you get.
How do you use the volunteers?